Coming to you from deep down underground in the American Reveille compound, the only host to be shadow banned by the establishment before anyone even knew who he was, hosting the only show prescribing the correct dosages of modern conservative red pills, the big Papa Patriot himself. This is American Reveille, and here's your host, James Lane.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. I bid you greetings, I bid you salutations from deep down in the underground compound. I'm James Lane, and this is American Reveille. So, how's everybody doing today? Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, we do the best we can and always put one foot in front of the other. Someone most likely depends on you, right? So keep your head about you, keep it together, march forward, always march forward. We've got a great show for you today, Patriots. As always, I find and write the most original content, next to probably Glenn Beck, I'd say. I'd lump Ben Shapiro in there too, but he doesn't really count. He just does these ad segues that he takes some kind of sick personal pleasure in as he sneaks in the transitions. You really can see it on his face. Anyway, no hate there, Ben. I love you, man. Anyway, over the weekend, I came across an Alzheimer's pamphlet while I was at the car dealership. You heard me right, an Alzheimer's pamphlet while I was at the car dealership. And while I was looking through it, I couldn't help but notice how I had a ton of examples for each and every Alzheimer's warning sign. And it gave me a great idea for a really cool segment that I put together, giving you some comparisons between that Alzheimer pamphlet and Joe Biden. Anyway, we have some breaking news about Dr. Fauci, the NIH, and our taxpayer dollars. This is confirmed as 100% true. Dr. Fauci, the NIH, and the U.S. government use taxpayer dollars to torture animals in other countries. That's right, torture animals in other countries. But the way that they did it was especially cruel and unusual. We then take a trip to Virginia, where ex-President Obama is doing what he usually does, talking smack about Americans, just like you and me, and pretending that critical race theory doesn't exist, and pretty much living in an alternate reality full of mean old backwards conservatives. That's what Obama does best. And then finally, we end up in Massachusetts, where a parents group is suing the school district for segregating students based upon their political beliefs and then punishing them, even going so far as to punish them for their parents' belief. So if they're not political, right, they're getting punished anyway, just in case their parents happen to vote for Trump. Listen to me closely, all right? These Democrat students, they're literally attacking and beating up other students, all right? Not even conservative students, that's what I just said. Just students whose parents may be conservative. And what's the school doing? Supporting the bullies, of course. What else would you expect from people with such wildly different core values? So before we go into the first segment, let's do a couple headlines that caught my attention this morning, right? I was looking through, I saw these headlines, and they really jumped out at me, and I wanted to share them with you. All right, check this out. The New Zealand Prime Minister admits she wants to create two classes of citizens based upon vaccination status. Creepy. This is from Breitbart News. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern admitted she wants to create two classes of citizens based on Chinese coronavirus vaccination status. Go figure. During an interview with the NZ Herald on Friday, a reporter asked Ardern if her goal is to create two classes of citizens with New Zealand's traffic light system, which Ardern unveiled Friday morning. Quote, so you basically said you probably don't see it like this, but two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you have all these rights if you're vaccinated. New Zealand Herald's deputy political editor Derek Chang asked Ardern, that is what it is. Yep, Ardern replied. It's that simple, right? So really, basically, he just said, so You have two different classes of people. You created this crazy system based on the Chinese coronavirus vaccination status. And the Prime Minister of New Zealand just went, yeah, pretty much. That's what we did. So there you have it, folks. A world leader saying it out loud. They just don't seem to care if we know anymore. They really don't. They just don't seem to care if we see what's behind the veil. They don't. What else do we got here? Oh, I love this story. Let's see. The fathers over here, they begin supervising students at Louisiana High School to put end to frequent brawls. Fathers in Shreveport, Louisiana have begun taking shifts to supervise students at Southwood High School after 23 students were arrested for fighting over 3 days last month. Since the group dads on duty arrived on campus, the school has not had a single fight. Wow, 23 students arrested for fighting over 3 days last month. That's insane. I feel like these dads must be walking around with their leather belts in their hands, right? Just walking around with leather belts making that whoopsh, that slapping sound, right? Pulling it tight real fast. Whoopsh, just scaring the crap out of these kids. I'm just kidding. Let's read this some more. Dads on duty is comprised of about 40 fathers who take shifts at the school, according to CBS. They greet students in the morning and carry an air of relaxed authority, which helps to preserve a positive learning experience for students, the outlet reported, because not everybody has a father figure at home or a male period in their life. So just to be here makes a big difference, they told CBS. And you know what? I really agree with that. You know what, folks? You just see it. You just see this good in what they're doing. It just goes to show the importance of a father in a child's life, huh? It's amazing how many mothers out there, not all mothers, just some, all right, don't realize the importance of the relationship, all right? The relationship between dads and their children, all right? These dads went to that school and gave some of those kids something they really needed, a father figure. It's a truly beautiful thing, a great way to get the show started, to get the show warmed up. All right. I think these dads don't get enough credit, but maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a dad. Parents in general don't get enough credit. It really is a hard job, but it's a super important one. We're saving this country for our kids. We are. So why wouldn't we take care in how we're raising them? Right now, there are forces working hard in this country to make sure your children turn against you. And where's the president when he should be making sure this doesn't happen? He's busy having an ice cream cone with his imaginary friends. We'll get the show started right after this. Hey everybody, James Lane here, and I'm the owner and founder of American Reveille, LLC. Now, as a conservative company, as you can imagine, we are under constant attack by big tech and the radical left. So do me a favor, do your part right now. Do your part by fighting back. And you can fight back by heading to www.americanreveille.com. That's American REVEILLE.com and bookmark the site right now. And while you're there, do me a favor, hit that tab that says newsletter, all right? Hit that newsletter tab and sign up for our weekly recap. That is the only way that you can ensure you never miss a thing. The censors are always out to get me, all right? If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll know exactly what's going on when it happens at the American Reveille. There's only one way to beat tyranny, folks, one way, and that is with information. Don't let them take that from you. Don't let them take away your ability to know what's happening. Do me a favor, sign up for the newsletter right now. It's easy, it's fast, and best of all, it's free. 100% free. All right, guys, do me that favor. Remember, www.americanreveille.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Bookmark the site. That's REVEILLE.com. Let's get back to the show. All right. So, listen, I came across this pamphlet from the Alzheimer's Association over the weekend. Like I told you, I was at the car dealership. We can get into that another time. But over the weekend, I came across this pamphlet. It said 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's. And immediately, and by the way, I'm going to butcher the word Alzheimer's probably 10 times. I'll do the best that I can to keep it consistent, but it's just one of those words, all right? So this 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's, I took a look at it and almost immediately, almost involuntarily, I thought of Joe Biden. I just couldn't help myself. I said to myself, how hard could it be to find a correlation between this pamphlet and the President of the United States? So I decided to spend a few minutes of my time skimming through the pamphlet. I thought that at the very least I'd learn some warning signs to be paranoid about at 3 a.m. when I'm thinking about stuff and can't sleep. As my skimming turned into reading and my interest turned into intrigue, I realized something. I realized that I literally could write an entire 10-page segment on the show dedicated to the things Joe Biden has said and done, proving that he's the poster boy for the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's pamphlet. Seriously. Now, I'm no doctor, not for another couple months at least, but it doesn't take a doctor to see that something just isn't right with Joe Biden. Let's go through some of this pamphlet, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But first, let me say one thing. Yes, I am using a legitimate Alzheimer's Association pamphlet to demonstrate some of the obvious mental deficiencies of the so-called president. I believe that it's absolutely possible, I believe that it's absolutely possible, 100% possible that he's rapidly deteriorating and should be medically evaluated. I'm not taking away from the horror of Alzheimer's, all right? I'm simply emphasizing the obvious truth. Something is terribly wrong in Washington, D.C. So right at the top of the pamphlet, all right, right at the top of the pamphlet, it says that currently 50 million people worldwide live with dementia, all right? That's including more than 5 million Americans. So ask yourself a question. If 5 million Americans have some form of dementia, isn't it possible that Joe Biden does too? Just a question, right? You can't kick me off the platforms for that, can you? I'm going to read you some of the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's, all right? And again, if you or a loved one is living with someone that has Alzheimer's, or you yourself is suffering from some form of dementia, this isn't meant to hurt you. It's not meant to hurt you at all. It's meant to shine a light on the truth, all right? The truth is that something is not mentally right with the most powerful man in the free world. So, the first warning sign of Alzheimer's disease is memory loss that begins to affect your daily life. And who can't think of something that Joe Biden hasn't forgotten? How many times has Joe Biden forgotten people's names? I'm not talking everyday average Joes like you and me. I mean, he forgets the names of his cabinet members, of foreign leaders, and even the characters he talks about in his tired, made-up stories. We don't have to go very far back for his latest spell of memory loss, though I wouldn't doubt it if he's forgotten many things since that I haven't heard about yet. So this is from U.S. Sun. This is back on September 16th, speaking about Joe Biden. It reads, "The latest gaffe came during the nuclear submarine announcement, with Britain and the U.S. agreeing to help the Australian Navy amid growing fears of Chinese aggression. The AUKUS Defense Alliance will share nuclear secrets to give Australia its first fleet of vessels." Mr. Johnson said the partnership between natural allies and shared interests and values would be increasingly vital for defending our interests in the Indo-Pacific region. And as Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison gave a short speech about the move when it was Biden's turn, he made a fatal blunder. The U.S. president did not name Mr. Morrison when thanking him and said this instead. I want to thank that fellow down under. Thank you very much, pal. Appreciate it, Mr. Prime Minister. I did the best I can with my Biden impression, but it's terrible either way. You're the president, okay? The president of the United States of America. And you can't remember the Australian Prime Minister's name? That man down under? Come on, man. There's plenty of examples. All right, plenty more. We could literally do multiple hours just on this pamphlet alone. And if you want that, let me know. Let me know. Seriously, shoot me an email at jameslane@americanreveille.com. That's REVEILLE.com. But for now, let's skip to number 6. New problems with words in speaking and writing. All right. This is something that he has definitely experienced. All right. With this one, I probably have hundreds of examples, literally hundreds of sound clips, snippets, and articles demonstrating Joe's inability to use his mouth properly. Let me read you something from an article. All right. In the Des Moines Register. All right. This is from someone that actually knew Joe. Seriously. Beyond the slurring, stuttering, whispering, and mispronunciations, people notice that Joe Biden is not the same person he used to be. I mean, just look at him the other day when he couldn't seem to put his arms down for like 12 minutes straight. It was something like that. Let me read you something, all right? Let me read you this. This is from the Des Moines Register. Opinion: Joe Biden isn't the person I knew in Congress. He should get cognitive testing with the result made public. In March 1997, Congress held a bipartisan retreat for families in Hershey, Pennsylvania, in an attempt to heal wounds over bitter congressional fights on welfare reform and balancing the budgets. Pulitzer Prize-winning author David McCullough gave a remarkable speech on respect and decency. Members ate together, danced together, shared stories, and got to know better the members of the other party and their children. My wife and I were joined at our table for lunch during the retreat by Senator Joe Biden and his wife Jill. We had a delightful time getting to know each other. Biden was witty and charming, with no stuttering or incomplete thoughts. Our wives shared professional experiences. We were impressed with them. It pains me greatly to see a decline in President Biden, and it worries me. He was 54 years old then, and he's 78 years old now. People age differently. My own mother, she's 93 and still sharp, but younger friends have mental deterioration that is significant. Why am I concerned about Biden's mental acuity? Well, during the campaign, he said, "I think we can win back the House," when it was already in his party's hands. Super Tuesday became Super Thursday. He forgot the words of the Declaration of Independence. "We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women were created by the, the thing." He even misstated what office he was running for in South Carolina. Quote, "My name's Joe Biden. I'm the Democratic candidate for the Senate." He repeatedly got confused about which state he was in. He called his son the Attorney General of the United States and confused British Prime Minister Theresa May with Margaret Thatcher. Joe really has trouble saying words, remembering names, knowing where to go, and now colleagues are calling for his public evaluation. These are all things that we, the patriots, have been saying for years. These are all things we were called conspiracy theorists for. Well, where's the conspiracy now? Where's the conspiracy when the president of the United States lives in Never Never Land, likes to sniff people, and disappears before sunset so he doesn't turn into a pumpkin? The truth is that there is no conspiracy. Number 10 in the pamphlet is changes in mood or personality. That is a big one. And Joe Biden, he's lost in space, very confused, and extremely short-tempered. Biden has snapped at veterans, all right? He's snapped at them. He's snapped at factory workers, reporters, and even said he could physically beat up Donald Trump back in 2018. You remember that, don't you? He consistently looks down on us little people and acts like he knows what's best for the working class, when truthfully, Joe Biden hasn't worked a day in his life. When someone pushes back, he throws a tantrum and seems to revert to childlike behaviors, which is highly indicative of some type of dementia. It's sad to watch someone deteriorate in front of your eyes, but it's extremely terrifying when that someone is supposed to be the president of the United States of America. Scary stuff, guys. It really, really is scary stuff. All right, it's time for a short break. We'll be right back. Hey folks, it's me again. I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to my show. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, please head to the website, www.americanreveille.com. That's American Reveille, REVEILLE.com. Bookmark the site, then kindly hit the tab that says contact. There, you can message me directly. Speaking of AmericanReveille.com, did you also know that we're a digital publication? American Reveille works hard to bring you enlightening, empowering, and entertaining blogs and articles from across this great country and across the world. If you would like to become a part of the American Reveille family and you think you have what it takes to come up with consistent and thought-provoking content for publishing, please head to www.americanreveille.com. That's REVEILLE.com. Fill out the content form and let me know that you're interested in writing for us. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Patriots. Now let's get back to the show. Welcome back from the break, everyone. James Lane here, and for those just joining us, this is American Reveille. I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about how hypocritical the left is for a second. I can't tell you how many times I've been talked down to by a vegan Democrat just for the apparent sin of enjoying a good burger. I can't tell you how many times one of these climate conspiracy theorists has pointed to people like you and me for the extinction of some ancient marmot or rare purple-spotted caterpillar. A hunter in Texas actually saves lives and bolsters the natural environment by hunting down overgrown populations, yet the same hunter gets crucified by some LGBTQ vegan bunny lover with no education in regard to what saving life even looks like. The left is made up of the largest group of grifters, jailhouse lawyers, and gaslighters that I have ever laid my eyes on. They are more lost than any of us could ever even imagine. These folks actually believe that people like Dr. Fauci and the current administration have our best interest in mind. They believe that by destroying this country and its morality, they can transform it into the dystopian Disneyland of our nightmares. Folks, if they're willing to experiment on us socially, psychologically, and medically, just imagine what they're capable of doing to dogs. You like dogs, right? I love dogs. I have 2 Chihuahuas, Butters and Mr. Chucho. That's their names, folks. You know who else really likes dogs? Well, apparently Dr. Fauci and the NIH. Take a look at this horrifying news. The White Coat Waste Project, a taxpayer watchdog group, has provided the Gateway Pundit with new examples of Dr. Anthony Fauci facilitating cruel and unnecessary taxpayer-funded experimentation on dogs, this time in Tunisia. Documents uncovered by the organization found that the National Institutes of Health division that is led by Dr. Fauci shipped part of a $375,000 grant to the lab in Tunisia to infest beagles with parasites. You know, those cute little doggies, the beagles? Yeah, not the beetles, the beagles. Parasites, eating them alive. Don't you think I'm kidding? Keep listening. The grant money funded a study published last month that detailed the horror inflicted upon the unlucky dogs. And nobody messaged me and asked me to do a deep dive or review of that study. I don't want to read it, all right? There's no point of me reading it. One of the tortures that the beagles were subjected to included locking their heads in mesh cages filled with infected sandflies so that the parasite-carrying insects could eat them alive. You heard me correctly. I said eat them alive. Beagles are often used for these tests because of their gentle nature, even towards those who harm them. That is awful. That's so awful. There's a photo of the test, which is sure to haunt anyone with a conscience. And oh yeah, I'm looking at it. Oh yes, I'm looking at the photo. I'm looking at this horrible picture of these poor dogs. And I promise I won't show it to you. I even took a picture for the cover art without these pictures, all right? Just so you don't have to get surprised and look at these poor dogs. You don't want to see it. You really don't, because just like the article said, it's pretty messed up. All right. According to their paper, the scientists starved the sandflies. They literally starved these bugs. All right. In order to make sure they were hungry enough to attack the dogs. Quote, the sandflies were then allowed to feed on the sedated dogs. End quote. The report explains. The nightmare for dogs did not stop there. The experimenters locked beagles alone in cages in the middle of the desert, isolated for 9 consecutive nights to use as bait to attract more infectious sandflies. There's also a photo of of course there's a photo. Oh my gosh. Oh man, wow, folks, just wow. I'm sorry, but these demons are sick, all right? Dr. Fauci is sick. The entire NIH is sick. Their entire budget needs to be audited to the decimal. All right, straight to the decimal. And these programs need to be shut down immediately, because you know where there's one, there's always more when it comes to government-funded programs and experiments. Fauci's dog testing debacle is now an international disgrace. Not only is Fauci paying for beagle abuse here at home, but he's also shipped our tax dollars overseas to have beagles eaten alive by insects in an African lab with no oversight from U.S. authorities. You know, didn't something like that just happen in Wuhan, China? Just asking, just wondering, just thought somebody should, maybe bring it up. Just saying. Anyway, it says taxpayers shouldn't be forced to foot the bill for this government waste and abuse. Congress must take action to investigate the full extent of Fauci's dog testing debacle. Mackie Burr, Director of Digital and Grassroots Development at the White Coat Waste Project, said. The article's funding statement confirmed that it was given money by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, and that NIH funding was given to the lab in Tunisia. Let me ask you a serious question. Do you really think he's going to be held accountable? Do you really think anything is going to happen to Dr. Fauci or anyone else at the NIH for that matter? No, at this point, I don't either. Look at the kind of money they were moving around for no reason whatsoever. Just look at it. Listen, White Coat Waste Project, using the Freedom of Information Act, using a FOIA Act, recently revealed that Fauci spent $424,000 to commission another study in which healthy beagles were given an experimental drug and intentionally infested with flies that carry a disease causing parasites that affect humans. Man, oh man, Dr. Fauci is really freaking double dipping, huh? He really was looking for the plague to wipe out the universe. I mean, come on. How many bad ideas can you possibly fund? How many? I think one is way too many. It says that the researchers are developing infections in 28 beagles and allowing them to suffer for 3 months before being euthanized. Oh, how merciful. The organization also noted that the experimenters admit this investigational drug, quote, has been extensively tested and confirmed in different animal models such as mice, Mongolian gerbils, and Rhesus macaques. How do you say that? Macaques? I think that's a type of monkey, Rhesus macaques, meaning that this painful torture is completely unnecessary. So let me get this straight. Dr. Fauci and the U.S. government took $424 out of our pocket, out of the taxpayers' pocket, and then blew it so that monkeys, gerbils, and beagles could be eaten alive by sandflies. I can't even pay certain bills every month, folks, but the Tunisians get a cool $500,000 to document the vocal cries of pain coming from man's best friend. Get out of here with that garbage. I'm done with these people. The left doesn't value life or liberty. The left doesn't believe in God. The left uses our taxpayer dollars to torture animals while gaslighting animal conservationists and conscientious hunters. These people are all snake oil salesmen, shysters, and the worst kind of frauds. Listen to this. In a letter sent to Fauci last week, Congressman Scott Perry and 14 colleagues cited their investigation and demanded answers about the project, including how much money has been spent to date, how many dogs have been killed, and why the NIH commissioned the deadly dog testing when the FDA said it wasn't required in the first place. The letter was signed by Rep. Andy Biggs, Rep. Ken Calvert, Madison Cawthorn, Rodney Davis, Louis Gohmert, Diane Harshbarger, Yvette Harrell, Fred Keller, Brian Mast, Bill Posey, Greg Stubbe, Glenn Thompson, Randy Weber, and Daniel Webster. So I have another question for you now. Why are there only 14 signatures on this letter? Where's, I don't know, the rest of Congress? At the very least, where's the rest of the Republican congressmen? Where's the outrage? People have service peacocks and therapy tarantulas now, and we can't stop these monsters from benefiting from the cruel and unusual torture of animals? Washington is set up in such a way that you can tell who's funded by what interest just by what way they sign or don't sign a letter. So we then have to ask the question, who's getting paid and who's going home? Well, regardless, we know one thing's for certain. Everyone's going home because no one is getting in trouble for this, at least not anytime soon. We'll be right back. You know, I understand how it feels to be frustrated. I understand how it feels to be forgotten. And I understand how it feels to be silenced. Like many of you, I wanted to fight back, but I didn't realize that I could. You know, when COVID first hit, I realized something was very, very wrong. And as I peeled back all of these different onions, I began to understand more and more the importance of never, ever backing down and always fighting back. Fighting back doesn't mean we have to sink to their levels. There are creative ways to make our voices heard. When my voice became heard, Big Tech panicked and shut me down, just like they shut down many of you. No rhyme, no reason, no justice, no peace. Now, for the last 9 months, I've slowly crawled through the muck and the mud and the slime, and now I'm in a position where I'm fighting back again, and you can join me too. So, how do you join me? How do you fight back? Help me become the voice of the people by calling up your local talk radio stations and asking to hear American Reveille with James Lane. That's how we can fight back. Also, do an online search for your local talk radio stations and look at their staff or contact section. Find out who their program manager is. Email their program manager. Tell them, I want American Reveille with James Lane and I want to hear it now. Folks, you have to understand something. Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, George Soros, Joe Biden, they can't control the radio. That's how you beat the censors, folks. You go around them. Look, we can't be defeated. We can't be repelled. And we can't be stopped. We're more than a number. We're an idea. And ideas live forever. Let's get back to the show. Okay, folks, this segment is really important to me because it kind of plays off the Loudoun County episode I did last week. And if you haven't heard it yet, you can easily go to www.americanreveille.com. That's REVEILLE.com and hit one of the two green buttons right at the top. They're big, they're green, they're right at the top. One's for listening to the American Reveille, the other's for watching the American Reveille. The choice is yours. So, some of you may have heard by now, but Osama Obama was in Virginia campaigning for critical race theory fanboy and Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe in his tight race, which could serve as a predictor for the outcome of the 2022 and possibly even the 2024 elections. I talked a lot in this episode about the left's ability to gaslight everyday Americans in every which way they can and at every chance they get. Well, Obama's the Mac Daddy of the gaslighting. The amount of gaslighting flowing forth from Obama can only be compared to the amount of gaslighting in a poor 16-year-old's Honda Civic. You've got to remember, Obama has a history with the entire progressive agenda, starting with his relationship with Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers, the convicted terrorist pardoned by Bill Clinton. Bill Ayers literally invented Common Core, the framework our public education system uses. Are you starting to put the pieces together yet? These aren't just coincidences. Last year, I interviewed H.G. Gurner, the unfortunately undiscovered author of United States Socialist Republic, a book that literally explains much of what's happening in our schools and institutions today. The book included a really good amount of information on Bill Ayers. His name is spelled Ayers. So when you read it, you want to say Ayers like a frickin' pirate instead of heirs. Bill Ayers, and it was an easy, short read. His book was easy to read. It was very informative. It wasn't too long. It got to the point, and it really, really gives you some information you may not be privy to. So if you have a few dollars to spare, go to Amazon.com, get yourself a copy. I have this wonderful signed copy that I've studied in detail, all right? It's called USSR, United States Socialist Republic, and it's written by H.G. Gurner. All right, folks? And if you can't find it, email me directly, jameslane@AmericanReveille.com. I'll gladly get you in touch, send you the link so that you can purchase the book. All right? I'm not being paid to tell you this. I'm not. I'm really recommending this book to you because it made sense to put it in this segment. That's it. I liked the book. I read it. I found it informative, and I think you'll find it valuable as well. All right, folks? So listen to how outrageous this is. Listen, it's like I keep saying. We're now two different tribes with two different sets of core values. It's literally like Barack Obama lives in an alternate reality where none of the stuff that's actually happening seems to be happening. Though one could argue that Obama is so rich that he actually does live in an alternate reality. So this is from nationalfile.com. Former President Barack Obama delivered a campaign speech in support of Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe on Saturday as the state's razor-close gubernatorial race enters the stretch. Obama decried Trump's rhetoric while also denouncing phony culture wars as a distraction. The former president's comments were seemingly in reference to the backlash against leftist initiatives in public school, namely critical race theory. Quote, "We don't have time to be wasting on these phony, trumped-up culture wars, this fake outrage that the right-wing media peddles to juice their ratings." Wow. Obama said that to a crowd in Richmond. He then chastised GOP challenger Glenn Youngkin for not talking about serious issues that affect serious people. You hear that, folks? Phony culture wars. Thousands upon thousands of fired Americans due to vaccination status. Phony. Thousands upon thousands of Americans losing everything to inflation and going hungry. Phony. Hundreds of backed up ships, skyrocketing gas prices, no food on the shelves. Phony. At least it's phony in Martha's Vineyard, right? And just like the superintendent of schools for Loudoun County, Virginia said to Steve Smith, the father of a 15-year-old girl brutally raped by an LGBTQ student, phony, 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 phony. So here's a little more of Obama's phony alternate reality. His statement was given not far from Stonebridge High School in Loudoun County, Virginia, where a young girl was raped by a boy wearing a skirt in a girl's bathroom. The attack was initially covered up by the school's superintendent, Scott Ziegler, who denied it happened at a June school board meeting. The June school board meeting, in reference, initially went viral. A large crowd showed up in protest of leftist board initiatives, including a motion on transgender bathroom issues. The event was eventually declared an unlawful assembly, and 2 protesters were arrested. The incident was then used as an example of the supposed threats of violence against the school board members, which ultimately resulted in the creation of that FBI task force, the one that's talking about going after parents as terrorists. Yeah, they used this. Though not known at the time, one of the 2 protesters arrested was the father of the girl who was raped, Scott Smith, who was ultimately dragged out of the meeting. He had hoped to address the issue, but he was never allowed to speak. This prompted Ziegler to deny the assault and then accuse the protesters of creating a straw man in order to justify their opposition to the proposed transgender policies. And for those who haven't heard the entire Loudoun County story yet, it's absolutely important that you do. These extreme incidents are beginning to sprout up across the country wherever evil woke policies have taken root. All right? I mean, think about it. Could you have ever imagined a boy in a skirt being protected after brutally raping a 15-year-old girl? How is this acceptable? What reality do lefties live in where they think that this is okay? Please tell me. Please tell me now. What would have happened to the boy in a skirt if this took place when you or I were in high school? I want to know. Let me know. Tell me. It says, all right, it says that Obama, all right, did not specify either Loudoun County or school board developments across the country. He didn't reference it. He didn't specify it, but it was implied and in line with left-wing talking points. Proponents of CRT and other leftist initiatives on school boards deny the issues even exist. All right, they deny it even exists, often masking them with euphemisms like equity. This is done despite high-profile incidents such as Loudoun County and CRT-themed lesson plans in districts across the country. Obama's Virginia stump speech comes as Joe Biden's poll numbers continue to sink to new lows. Biden campaigned for McAuliffe in late July, but has since seen his approval ratings slip to 38%, according to an October Quinnipiac poll. The current president is currently not scheduled for any events in Virginia before the election, though McAuliffe campaigned with Jill Biden in Norfolk on Friday. And you know that is an important election for the GOP. And look, saying that Obama did not specifically reference Loudoun County, at least to me, is like saying that Biden parading around that handicapped man named Brandon had nothing to do with the NASCAR stadium chants or any of the other college football or other sports stadium chants of "Let's Go Brandon," right? It had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all cries. It's all lies. Obama gave a speech that was pretty much down the road from the Loudoun County incident to talk about woke ideology, while throwing away the truth and replacing it with what? Replacing it with equity. Ooh. You don't have to put a little sign on a turd that says turd in tiny brown letters for everyone to know it's a turd. All right, folks, look, these elites have no respect for you. They have no respect for you. They have no respect for me. They have no respect for anyone. They all believe that they're part of some manifest destiny to change the course of history. They want to give this socialism wheel a spin, a great big spin, as if no one's ever played this game before. Well, you know what they say. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. The final segment's coming right up, followed by the close of the show that'll tie this whole thing together, all right? So stick around because we'll be right back after a few short words. Hey everybody, James Lane here, and I'm the owner and founder of American Reveille, LLC. Now, as a conservative company, as you can imagine, we are under constant attack by big tech and the radical left. So do me a favor. Do your part right now. Do your part by fighting back. And you can fight back by heading to www.americanreveille.com. That's American REVEILLE.com and bookmark the site right now. And while you're there, do me a favor, hit that tab that says newsletter, all right? Hit that newsletter tab and sign up for our weekly recap. That is the only way that you can ensure you never miss a thing. The censors are always out to get me, all right? If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll know exactly what's going on when it happens at the American Reveille. There's only one way to beat tyranny, folks, one way, and that is with information. Don't let them take that from you. Don't let them take away your ability to know what's happening. Do me a favor, sign up for the newsletter right now. It's easy, it's fast, and best of all, it's free. 100% free. All right, guys, do me that favor. Remember, www.americanreveille.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Bookmark the site. That's REVEILLE.com. Let's get back to the show. All right, Patriots, listen up. These schools are out of control. These school boards are out of control, and these teachers' unions are absolutely out of control. And it's time we did something about it, isn't it? Our kids, folks, our very own children are at risk every day that critical race theory and woke ideology are allowed to exist in any school or institution in the United States. And with that being said, getting rid of this pestilence requires two simple things: nationally repairing the family unit and coming together as parents and patriots to choke out CRT in the court of law and in one Massachusetts court district. All right, one Massachusetts school district, parents like you and me did just that. Parents like you and me are fighting back. Check out this article in the Epic Times called Parents Group Sues Massachusetts School District Over Racial Segregation and Abuse of Students. All right, like I said earlier, this stuff is happening all across the country, all across Western civilization. It's spreading like the bubonic plague, spreading like a virus, like an actual, real pandemic. Information is power. And like I've said many times, don't let them take away your right to be informed. Also, don't take the right away from yourself by choosing to remain uninformed. It's our responsibility to save this country, and it's time we start acting like it, folks, because stuff like what I'm about to read you is actually happening. Regardless of how many times Obama screams that it isn't, closes his eyes, and wishes the news story away into the cornfield, this stuff is real, and it's happening right in your backyard. It says that a national parents group filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against a public school district in Massachusetts for allegedly violating the U.S. Constitution by racially segregating students into affinity groups and imposing a student speech code. The lawsuit comes as parents in the education establishment across the United States are battling over critical race theory and the systemic racism that leftists argue plagues the nation. The article continues. Under the guise of racial equity, WPS sponsors and organizes racial affinity group meetings that welcome some students but exclude others, based solely on the race and their ethnicities of the students involved. This racial segregation policy runs afoul of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution and Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, the complaint states. WPS released a 5-year equity strategic plan in 2020 that committed the school district to pursue justice for historically marginalized communities, continuously examine systems of privilege and bias, work collectively to disrupt and dismantle inequity in all its forms, and achieve racial equity. Good luck with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, how many times are they going to hit on that keyword for socialism, that keyword for hate, that keyword for racism? You know the word. You know what word I'm talking about. Equity. It's a fake word. It's a fake word that the left made up to describe some matrix-like reality where everyone is magically getting along, where everything is magically fair. Nobody owns anything. Nobody wants anything. And everyone's apparently happy. You know, the snake oil potion that those Great Reset folks like to sell those dumb people over there. To accomplish this equity, the district announced it would create affinity spaces for students with shared identity in order to nurture and affirm positive racial identity development under what the district called its new racial affinity group policy. Racial affinity groups and affinity spaces were formed. The policy is inherently exclusionary. The complaint states, according to WPS, a racial affinity group is an opportunity for people with an identity group to openly share their experiences without the risk of feeling like they will offend someone from another group and without another group's voices. And if you thought that that was bad enough, listen to this one. WPS also punishes students' speech that it deems bias, which includes any student speech it considers offensive, has an impact on others, treats other persons differently, or demonstrates conscious or unconscious bias. The speech code, according to the legal complaint, violates the First and 14th Amendments, as well as the Massachusetts Students' Freedom of Expression law. So did you catch that? Students are punished for conscious or unconscious, keyword unconscious, bias, meaning that anything the school decides you're doing wrong, even if you don't know you're doing it, is a punishable offense. They are so insane that they're literally saying that they will make everything fair for everyone by treating everyone unfairly. It makes absolutely no sense. Again, we're two different tribes with two very, very different sets of core values. To me, this is child abuse. I mean, don't you think so? If you're listening to the show, you probably do. But wait, there's more. The complaint provides examples of harsh treatment of students thought to hold conservative opinions. You've got to be kidding me. If this was any other point in modern American history, any other point, I just wouldn't believe it. This article continues with the startling truth. The children of a person identified as Parent C are afraid to speak freely in class. One of those children is said to have been held by a teacher after class because the child mentioned that the parent was a conservative. The teacher lectured the student about why the parent's views should change. One of the same parent's children was reported to have been physically assaulted in a school hallway by classmates after the assailants discovered that Parent C had voted for Donald Trump in the presidential election. A guidance counselor is said to have dismissed the child's concerns because the perpetrators were minority students. Privilege. Other students routinely yell at and berate a fellow student whenever the student expresses conservative beliefs or speaks in support of Republican politicians. The student's teacher is present while this occurs but does not intervene and appears to agree. The teacher agrees with the aggressor students. Wow. So kids are getting beat up. They're getting their butts kicked. Kids are being humiliated. Kids are being viciously shamed. And kids are being told that their parents are liars, that they're evil, that they're wrong, that they're crazy. Does anyone else see the hypocrisy here? For years and years, the left acted holier than thou as they continuously gaslighted everyone around them. Everyone who isn't a New Age liberal, a progressive soy boy, or an illegal immigrant is undesirable. They're an undesirable blemish in their socialist utopia fantasy world. Their socialist dreamland, their Shangri-La of socialism. I can't even believe that this stuff is real. I really can't. Like, we're going through it, right? We're being strong. We're fighting. We're doing what we have to do. But at the same time, it's so surreal. It feels like a movie. It feels like a movie. Never in my life, and never in any of your lives, have we ever been through anything like this. It's crazy. It's crazy. Over the years, the left has continuously cried out. They've denounced body shaming and culture shaming and all kinds of shaming and all kinds of violence and what they consider bullying. But the truth of the matter is that the most notorious bullies, the most notorious shamers, haters, humiliators, liars are all Democrats. And that's a fact, Jack. There are parents' movements sprouting up all over the country and in every state, from Virginia to Massachusetts and beyond. Parents from sea to shining sea are sick and tired of being sick and tired, for real, and they aren't taking anyone's crap anymore. And neither should you. I'm telling you, I'm not going to take any crap anymore. And what's stopping you? Tell me, what's stopping you from forming an alliance of parents, working together to fight off wokeness and critical race theory in schools in your area, huh? What's stopping patriots like you and me from pooling some of our resources together and maybe affecting some real change in this country through some local and legal processes? What's stopping us? Why can't we take the system back and change it for the better? Look, the left doesn't want you to know this. But the truth is that we can change the system from the inside out, and all we have to do is work together, work hard, believe in the truth, believe in justice, and believe in the American way. And the American way means that you overcome all obstacles, no matter the cost. You preserve our way of life for our kids, for our grandkids, and for ourselves, period. We'll be right back to close the show in just a minute. Stay tuned. Hey folks, it's me again. I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to my show. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, please head to the website, www.americanreveille.com. That's American Reveille, REVEILLE.com. Bookmark the site, then kindly hit the tab that says contact. There, you can message me directly. Speaking of AmericanReveille.com, did you also know that we're a digital publication? American Reveille works hard to bring you enlightening, empowering, and entertaining blogs and articles from across this great country and across the world. If you would like to become a part of the American Reveille family and you think you have what it takes to come up with consistent and thought-provoking content for publishing, please head to www.americanreveille.com. That's REVEILLE.com. Fill out the content form and let me know that you're interested in writing for us. Thank you guys. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Patriots. Now let's get back to the show. So, at the end of the day, folks, it's pretty easy to feel like things are just straight falling apart. But there's a silver lining in all this. There really is. It seems that more and more people are waking up every single day. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just trying to keep you motivated. It's the truth. More and more people are standing up every day and saying enough is enough and it's time for a change. From concerned parents standing up at school boards to hundreds of employees walking out of companies to protest the vax mandates, people are getting fed up and you can feel the tension in the air. It's thick. The air physically feels thick with tension. Beyond all of you wonderful patriots standing up for what you believe in, there's still a sinking feeling, though. There's a question that seems difficult to answer, yet the answer is fairly easy to come by. The question is simple. How do we come back from this? It seems that America has been split into two very different sets of tribes, two very different sets of core values. How do you change someone's literal internal core values, their programming, what they believe in, what guides them in life? How do you change that? It seems impossible to me because I know for a fact that I wouldn't change mine. So if we've truly split into what could be considered two separate people, how do we come back together under the same banner and share the same core values? I'm usually very perceptive as to what comes next, but on this one, I just don't know. Many people talk about some sort of peaceful divorce, some way to split up the country and give the left their own socialist bluetopia while we build up our own country and economy. But I don't think that might work either. I don't know if it would work. I just don't think we'd sustain it. You know, after a while, someone would need some sort of resource or material, and something would happen that upset the belief system of one group compared to another, yada, 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 then kaboom! Either way, I believe we've had a great show today, and I just want to thank you guys for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. I do. You know, a lot of you have stuck with me for the last 2 years, and I'm thankful from the bottom of my heart. And I know we're going to keep pushing forward and grow. Folks, I want you to remember what I said earlier, all right? I want you to remember that we beat the censors through information, all right? We can't let them hijack our right to be informed, all right? We can make the best decisions for ourselves and our families 100%. Do me a favor, make sure you pass this information on to your fellow patriots. Make sure they know that they can take care of themselves, that they don't need the government telling them what to do about everything. So I want to thank you again, my friends. Thank you for joining me. And if you'd like to request any topics or send me some feedback, please email me directly at jameslane@americanreveille.com or use the contact form at www.americanreveille.com. That's REVEILLE.com. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I pray that good fortune smiles down upon you and yours, and you find what you're looking for. You go forth, be happy. I'll see you next time on the 178th episode of American Reveille with James Lane.